Please join me in welcome Richard Chen, Executive Vice President and Head of Supply Technology at Lazada Group. So Richard will help to present building an efficient product selection platform for Lazada based on Flink and Hologres. So welcome, Richard.
Thanks, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Richard. I'm leading the supply tech department of Lazada, and I'm also the head of the RedMart tech team. So if for those who live in Singapore, I hope you have used RedMart before. And yeah, so today I'm gonna share some of the team practice using Flink and Hologres when we build the massive product selection platform for whole Lazada Group, because we have business run on the 6 ventures, and also we have a huge supply coming from China and also the international suppliers and the sellers. So this has been a tremendous challenge for the tech team to deal with the size of billions of the products or SKUs on the platform. And join me also have Peter and Wayne from my tech team. So today I'm going to introduce a little bit about the business problem background and also what our tech solution and the final benefit and future look towards this journey of the real-time and batch streaming with product selection. So as a business product or tech team together, our main purpose to solve the technical bottlenecks and to unblock the business to grow. And as starting from the Lazada, when creating more than a dozen years ago, and the amount of the SKUs or available products on the platform has exploded like 10s or even 20 times more. And because today we have really abundance of the supply and the assortment diversity and also the available of the same products or SKU from different sellers. And that's creating a very competitive environment on such a marketplace style e-commerce platform like Lazada, and which creates value for consumers as well, because we always provide the best service, the lowest competitive price, and the platform governance as well. So what is product selection actually in e-commerce? And if you run a retail business, no matter it's online or offline, the first thing probably you have to think about is, what am I going to provide as a supply? What are my products to satisfy the demand from my potential customers? So that's what we call the product selection. For example, when you look into a 7-Eleven convenience store, probably they normally have like 2,500 of SKU in one store. And that's a limit. And because of the limited physical space in the 7-Eleven, you have to be careful about your product selection. And for e-commerce, thanks to the unlimited shelf capacity online, you can list even millions of products in one category. But how are you going to display to the customer? Still a challenge, because we have limited screen to display. Even you a projector on your large screen TV or doing browsing on your laptop or PC, the screen space is still limited. And also we want to improve the user experience, to doing personalized preference, and we show in different recommendation for different people. So in this way, your product selection should be as many as possible. And so from the business operation team perspective, there are 3 layers of action they need to rely on when they do the product selection. So in Lazada, basically, we separate them into 3 layers. The fundamental is about the data service that we provided as the fundamental infrastructure. And when we group some of the SKUs or items together, and we call it SKU pool. And within these pools, we will do a lot of processing and to satisfy the business operation team's demand. And on top of that, we also have the business intelligence team to do a lot of analytic and in real time. So for example, in today's sharing on the keynotes, we know in Alibaba Group and same as Lazada, we have some of the mega sales like Double 11. And during that time, we really need real-time analysis based on the product selection. That's a very critical scenario. For example, in the first minute of the mega sale, we need to analyze which SKUs goes really good and whether there's any inventory risk or fraud risk, or is there any competition together, because normally our competitors will also start the campaign at the same time with us. So we have to make business decisions in, like, if not minutes, it's just even half an hour to make sure we can catch up with the demand and catch the hot sales. So this is the real-time analysis, how we can help the business to do product selection. So when we look at the challenges from the business side, basically we see in the past, Lazada has adopted the infrastructure from Alibaba, and we have scattered data silos from different business sources, and we have the supply team, and we have different business divisions, like we have retail 1P business, and we have our cross-border business, and we also have our marketplace. And all this kind of vertical business, they have their own source of the data when they're showing up with the product and SKUs, and which a little bit hinder the efficiency when the business team want to do a consolidated data pool to look at all the available products. And also about the data freshness, because sometimes like the most of the data when we onboard launch a new product or change some of the product properties or values, it takes more than 1 day to sync up to the systems. And that's caused some problem when you cannot rely on the outdated of data to do a business decision. And also in the previous generation of the data actor, when we do the product selection, the data richness actually is limited by the tech architecture at that time. So we will not be able to add more metrics or tags per business demand. And from the tech side, our previous architecture has some of the limitation as well. And even, for example, about the speed, for the full scale sync, it takes more than 1 day. And also for the throughput, it's like limited. We cannot handle the business demand with the high TPS, and that's always been the business ask. And also in terms of one goal about the cost effectiveness, the cost remains higher in machine resource and the maintenance cost as well from our tech resource. So overall, starting from last year, actually, or earlier, before last year, we decided that we need a new comprehensive solution to tackle this, to make sure we can support massive data volume, but with scalable efficiency and the lower cost. So let's move on about the opportunities as well. And thanks to the Flink community and also Alibaba's contribution, we have seen quite a promising trend in recent years about the batch and the streaming integration. And also we have seen the capability in the tech world that we can tackle or support the heterogeneous data source. And as Lazada, we are also using different data source or techniques from the inherited from the Alibaba. So the whole open source world can support this kind of capability, also benefits Lazada as an e-commerce leading platform as well. And so here comes the final solution in our high-level architecture design. So basically, we do some of the feasibility investigation, and within Alibaba, we choose the Flink and Hologres as the core component to support the architecture. And basically, it can support the runtime based on the availability capability in the bottom as listed here. And we have different containers and resource scheduling, and also the very mature task management capability. And it can deal with different database that Lazada has already been using. So it creates little difficulty for us to integrate from existing data source. And for the common used message queues, including Kafka and MetaQ, etc., is already supported. And also about the batch computing in max compute that we use, or we call it ODBS internally. And for this one, for both input and output in the data part, Hologres provided a very good capability and the performance to support all the demand in terms of batch processing, both batch processing and the stream processing. So in front, we provide this kind of real-time product selection ability for the business team. Whenever they want to create a campaign, they want to select, what kind of products I want to provide to a Singapore customer for this Christmas. And then I can create a product selection task easily, and just in one click, the system will generate what has been the most promising SKU available on the platform right now. and you can do your job in quick time. And also, we can do the real-time analysis. So if you want to analysis in the past week or just in today's flash sale, we have a large flash campaign which has a high traffic with the consumers, and they want to buy a lot of discounted items there. And we can do this kind of real-time analysis and allow business to add more like inventory, so for some super hot items. So this kind of real-time analysis capability also enable the business to make real timely business decisions. And for the data metrics, when we look at the details in the e-commerce, especially in Lazada, we found like most of the data coming from the offline batch data warehouse is more than 70%. And the difficult part is actually about the 30% of the incremental data that we need to update in more timely granularity. And for example, and when we look into the incremental part, half of it is coming from the hourly update, so that T+1 hour. And still, we have many data coming from the real time. It's like business, consumer browsing behavior, customer placing order behavior, and the GMV or pricing change at the real time. A seller can change the price at any time. And also for platform, it can launch campaign or create subsidy vouchers at any time. So this kind of real-time change will reflect it into the incremental data update and generate the data through the incremental update streams. And so look at the data metrics that we want to sync with the final product selection table. And so we also separate into two. And the top, you can see we use the batch merge from Max Compute, and we use the table full sync to the Hologres, and which is very well supported because we have unified metadata in the whole Alibaba ecosystem. So thanks to the Taobao practice in ahead, and the Lazada follow the same steps. And for the incremental part, for example, we have like MySQL, Kafka, and also we have some of the hourly data updates. We use Flink to sync to a incremental data table in the middle, which is also a Hologres table. And then based on incremental data table, we do the consolidation and aggregation together from the different sources. And then we do an incremental sync to the product selection table in Hologres. So in this way, we like keep each of the data source from upstreams for the incremental part, a standalone pipeline to isolate the risk issue. And in terms of any time that it has an issue or need to replay, then we can do this. Or backfill is much easier to isolate any of the data source if we need to do the backfill. And I'm gonna introduce a little bit into the details about the incremental data part. So here you can see for the real-time data from either from MySQL or Kafka, and we use 6 level status, and we use the Flink CDC access to monitor the data change. And for the hourly update from the Max Compute, we also use Flink to get the data into the incremental data table. And thanks to the sharding technology in the Hologres and also the high-level TPS write capacity, we can support like millions level of the TPS in the Kafka to the from Kafka, MySQL, and Max Compute through the Flink, and then to the Hologres incremental data table. And so let me explain a little bit more about the incremental table, why we need this data table. As I mentioned, first is like easier to utilize the bin log replay from the Hologres. So because in terms of like a disaster situation, we have to make sure we can recover, and the flexible recovery mechanism that can replay based on the past bin log is very useful here, and which ensures data integrity here. And also as I mentioned, because the upstream data source can be very different and heterogeneous. And for that one, we consolidate at this step instead of the next one, because the next one data into the main product selection table is more time consuming, and we want to do this kind of middle layer. It's like a buffer. And also for this one, because some of the data coming from the external systems, and we put the incremental data here to save some of the space and the cost by using the incremental. It can only keep a limited amount of the incremental sync at the incremental table in the middle. And for the binlog update, we used the Flink pipeline to do this. For example, we also always maintain like one primary partition to serve the business, and there are two standby partitions to allow us to do a quick switch just in case we need to do, for example, a disaster recovery or some data backfill. For example, these are the dates that we used to keep 3 days of data in the snapshot. And for the incremental binlog, we can easily to switch from the main to backup partition or standby partition. So this is thanks to the capacity or capability that Hologres provided to us. And so if we look at the full picture of the one-day job that today Lazada product selection was doing every day. So first, when a new day starts, we will create the first initial partition that trying to create a new partition with the data table. And this is the starting from the offline full data sync of the previous day. And then we will check about the synchronization task. And once it's complete, we will send the completed event to the binlog replay monitor. And then we will start the binlog replay based on the incremental data table. And also, when the replay task started, we will start monitor when the replay task finished, and then we will, after the replay task finish, then we will switch on the new day's snapshot or the data as the, for example, the 4th of June as the main date. It's like the new primary partition available once the binlog replay task finish. So here's a quick tricky part. It's like how we can determine the binlog replay task has been completed based on because your previous day data is cut off by 12 a.m., right? But for today's task, when you do the full data sync and also do the binlog replay, there are already new data coming in from the real time of the current date. And so we need to make sure the replay task capture everything. So there are two trigger points here to identify the task finish. The first is like when we look at the data income. So if there's a little data in a certain period of a date in some of the pipelines, then we can determine like this kind of incremental replay is finished. And also when we replay the timestamp data to be close to the current time, then we can also confirm like all the data that need to be replayed has been finished. So at that time, then we can determine the replay task finishes. So this is the lightweight solution for our full cycle batch processing, and combined with the real-time incremental update together by using the intermediate incremental data table on the Hologres. And I also want to show two more things that the team has innovatively applied, also thanks to the Hologres capability. So the first one is about tags. So for those who has been working on e-commerce, probably know like two systems need tags mostly. The first one is about the user. So you need to understand your consumers better. So you will tag a lot on the people, like for each person, like what kind of category, what kind of item, what kind of a price range a customer prefer. And also the other highly tag dependent system is the product. So we need to tag or understand the products better. So for example, a T-shirt with red color. So what kind of customers or what kind of scenario so these tags can apply to the products? It's like from Korea, it's like a cotton, it's like a casual. And all these tags are very dynamic and flexible to allow business team to create and apply the different tags. But tags can create a problem for our data system because it's like so dynamic and the number of the tags are so many. So for this one, in previous design, we had a challenge in the first version of Hologres deployment, and the tag has created. We used the arrays to store the tags, and it created a lot of slowness and the data performance, especially when we do the tag retrieving and analysis. The performance is not satisfactory. So the team starts doing investigation, and then we switch to the rolling bitmap, which can help us to store the tag data using the compressed way. And we right now it's 32-bit integer, and we will split it into the lower 16 and high 16. And especially in the final, it's like three types of data and bottom. Sorry for the low resolution here, probably you cannot read. So the first one is like a sparse data. We will use array container. And the second is the high dense data. So then the system will use the bitmap container. And also we have sequential ranges, use the run container. So eventually we reduce the storage by 40% and also lower the CPU usage by 30. So the total runtime has been improved. Pretty much the runtime reduced by 90% as well. So this is one thing we do want to share about the Hologres usage. And the other one is about the JSON-B in Hologres. Is that because we know for the semi-structured data in the e-commerce is also very common. For example, when you do social media comments, when you do reviews on the products, in e-commerce, this kind of data normally is like a semi-structured. And for the product selection as well, we do have a lot of semi-structured data when we combine the data with product, and the downstream product is like with the orders and with the product business decisions that connected to it. For example, the campaigns that we create hundreds every day, and how the product performance in each campaign, the relationship between these two becomes a semi-structured data. And thanks to the Hologres support for the JSON-B, and we use this to run, especially for the columnar storage, and we can easily switch when the scenario is like is not enabled and we do not need that, then we will use this store. And if there's need columnar storage, then you can easily switch to the column data. So this one is also provide us the real flexibility to do the product selection with the downstream teams. Especially, you need to combine more business concept or business operations with the product, and it's at a final granularity just than the SKU itself. So these are the two things we want to share about the tech application on Hologres and Flink in product selection. So after the whole revamp of the product selection in Lazada, what we have achieved. So today we have more than 2,000 Flink tasks running, and we have a daily more than 20 terabytes. And for the incremental routes, it's like 100 million every day. So these are the full support and enable business to able to consume this high throughput and provide real-time incremental metrics for them to make timely business decision. So this is the business benefit that we already achieved. And thanks for the team's hard working, and thanks for the Alibaba Cloud, Flink, and Hologres contribution on this. So here's a quick summary for what we have achieved, right? Let me start with the tech side. So now we have a very simplified architecture based on Flink and the Hologres, and that makes us for the development cost and maintenance cost much lower comparing to the previous one. And also in terms of machine cost, that the money that we pay, especially on machine resource, has been halved. So this is really a good thing and allow us to spend more to enlarge the SKUs or selections. And from the business side, now based on the business demand, we can support multiple types of freshness or the timely manner. And either the business team want real data at the campaign time, which is time critical, or they need a more effective analysis on the historical, like in the past year, if they want to do yearly analysis when they're trying to determine which category to merge or which production to introduce as a new supply. So this kind of data will span a longer time range, and our product selection platform can support all of them. And also, because we unlocked the data limitation in the previous, for example, the tags and also the width of the table, and our tag data has been greatly enhanced, so they can import a lot of tags to the platform. For example, a recent project like we import some of the Tmall Taobao products from China, and we can just replicate or leverage whatever the tags that is already there on the Chinese market, and we can just do some kind of translation to import the various tags into Lazada to make sure the system can, both system and people can understand each product better, because you have more tags, then you have already do some kind of understanding there. And also for the import of the external data, because thanks to the Hologres capability to support the different upstream teams, and we used this to support all the data that we are able to come in. Just I mentioned, it's like either it's from Alibaba Insight, or some of the external side come from our sellers or suppliers. So this is the overall benefit that I want to summarize for the Hologres practice with our product selection platform. So basically, right now it's like a hybrid transaction analysis combined platform for the business team. So I'll talk a little bit about the next steps that where we do the tech planning for the next year. And also we have discussed a lot about the fuzzy world of AI. And as today, we already started some of the practice in using AI to do the product selection, especially in some theme-based scenarios. For example, as I mentioned the example, if you want to create a new campaign for this Christmas, or if a recent event is going to happen, for example, the F1 event, or some of the superstar concert in Thailand, and you can create a related campaign based on this kind of theme. And then the product selection with the AI in the backend, it will recommend you from billions of the available SKUs, and to recommend you what are the most recommended SKUs that could have high potential to attract the customers and satisfying as a strong connection with your theme, with your campaign theme. So this is something we are already practicing on. And also this will try to utilize the vector query feature from the Hologres. And some of the Hologres new features we are also expecting in this coming days. For example, about the 64-bit rolling bitmap, as I mentioned. So in this way, it can further enlarge the availability of the rolling bitmap and support even more tags or AI-generated tags on the products. Because we expect like this kind of product understanding from AI will generate more data than human. So this is something we are looking for to further enable the understanding or better understanding of all the products. And the last but not least, still we want to support the business to introduce a more attractive supply assortment from all various of sourcing channels. And how we can identify a product is not on the platform yet, or even it's not on the whole e-commerce network yet. It could be a very new item, or even it's a conceptual item. So how we can do this kind of new assortment introduction to help the business to capture the opportunity in advance. So this is something from the product selection and analysis capability. So that's we want to integrate with the open search engines, and also with the probably will empowered by the AI capability as well. So to try to create the new trend or new assortment opportunity for the e-commerce platform that can further satisfy the never satisfied customer demand. And I think that is a good thing, because our customers are never satisfied, and they're always looking for more and more attractive, more new and more satisfying assortment. So these are the never-ending journey for product selection. And I think that's a good opportunity for the tech team also to embrace and apply the latest technology here and to solve some of the real business problem. Yeah, I think that's all for today's sharing, and we are open for questions. I will have like Peter and Wen join me if you have any detailed question. Yeah, thank you.